going to run the risk here. In the illustration that I gave you, there's a topic that I chose called the RAP approach. RAP is an acronym. It stands for respect, affection, and praise. And I totally understand that, because I've been to so many funerals lately where people, are lamenting and talking about, the person that's in the box, or the person that's in the ashes that are there, the photograph that's there. They're talking about how we wish we just sort of told this person how much they meant to us, and how special they were, and we didn't get a chance to because they were gone too soon, and blah, blah, blah. I'm a big believer in giving people their flowers while they live. If there's a reason and an opportunity for me to celebrate someone's success or someone's thoughts or someone's ideas, I'm going to encourage them like nobody's business. I'm going to ask them, I'm going to tell them, this is a great post. What made you even think to post this? This is a great article. Where were you coming from when you wrote this? This is amazing. I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to share this. Can we talk about this at some point in the future? Because I really want to talk about, what your thoughts are about in a deeper way about this. Would you mind if we connect offline? Can we send an instant message? There's so many ways you can do this that would keep you in the space of the people that you really want to be in and start to engage and open up conversation and dialogue. But it starts with you paying attention to them first. You got to be willing to listen. You got to be willing to dig deep. You got to be willing to do your research, establish your top 10 list. That's just the listening part. Now, once you listen and you've got someone's attention, and now what do you do with it? Because if you move immediately to a transaction that says, can you give me a job? That's a bad strategy. I can tell you right now, that's not going to work. I've spoken to the 40 plus on a couple of occasions, and one person asked me before the meeting, he said, listen, I've been having a problem getting people to be my mentor. And before he could even explain the process, I said, stop right there. I already know your problem. He goes, what do you mean? It's like, you've been asking people to be your mentor. That's your problem. He says, why is that a problem? I said, because that's too much. You're asking people to do too much. Let's go back to that example I just gave you. If you already know how to get somebody to where they need to go, you probably have no problem with helping them, at least giving them directions. Some of us would even just say, you know what, I'm not going in that way, but I'm so excited about opportunity to help you, follow me, right? That's how some of us really feel about our ability to help people. That's how much it means to be significant, right? But the opposite is also true. If somebody asks us to do something for them that we're not good at, that we know nothing about, that's not helpful, or that's going to take up too much of our time or too much of our energy, and that we're not willing to give it, then that's offensive. What you just did, what you just said was offensive. And you wonder, well, why didn't they want to help me? Is something wrong with me? Am I too old? Am I too fat? Am I too blah, 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 blah? The reality is you asked for too much too soon, right? That's talking in the ladies here would understand. This is an unwanted advance, right? This is when you're asking people for more than they're willing to give, or more than they're willing to share. You're getting a little too personal, a little too quick, and you need to back up and realize that right now, before you ask them for what you want, you've got to be able to deliver to them something that they want. So let's go back to making promises. Step 2 in my 9-step formula. I'm not going to go through all the 9 steps, but I'm going to tell you the first 3 steps are where the magic is. And so you literally all you have to do is make a promise. Now, if you've done your homework and you know who you're talking to and you've listened to them, at some point you're gonna have an opportunity to go, it seems to me like you would like this article that I just read, or this book that I'm reading right now, or something associated with where they want to go with their lives, their business, whatever they're doing. And if you've done your homework, you can pretty much figure out what that is already. And you've already got those 5 articles in the queue, in your mind, in terms of what I read an article about, how you might want to be more emotionally successful, or wellness, or something related to blah, blah, blah in your life and so on. So I think you'll be fascinated about an article. Would you mind if I sent it to you? And then maybe we can have a follow-up discussion a little later on. Who says no to that? What kind of person says no to that? Who's out and about also looking to meet people and looking for information and looking for opportunities to build relationships? I mean, if you go into a networking meeting, by the way, that's what it's about. It's about sharing information and sharing responsibilities and sharing opportunities to work with one another. And so you show up with something that's useful to them. Why would they say no? And if they do say no, think about that. What kind of person are you dealing with right now? If you found out something that they're already interested in and you want to share even more about that, does that say that you're not interested in them, or that you're not doing anything, or you're not trying to do something irrelevant? Of course it doesn't. It says that you are interested in them. And this is the law of reciprocity at work. What tends to happen when you make that promise and you fulfill that promise and you follow up and follow through with that promise? The person on the other end of that promise is grateful. The person on the other end of that promise is wanting to hear more from you, or wanting to talk from you more. It might even be turn around and actually be interested in you enough to go, tell me something about you. Tell me more about you. This has been all about me so far. Who are you and why are you here? Or what are you trying to accomplish? And so on and so forth. And that's when you really truly have to have the great strategy. You have to have that winning technique, that winning style that says, I'm glad you asked. I just happen to be in the market right now for some other opportunities, and I was interviewing people in your industry, and I'd love to set you up with an opportunity to just do an interview with you, coffee, take you to dinner, whatever it is. I promise it won't be invasive and it won't take up too much of your time, just so I can find out more about the industry. Would you be willing to help me this way? Again, not asking for a job, asking for time, asking for an opportunity to find out more. And then you're going to ask them, well, how did you make the decisions that you made to move from this thing to that thing? And how did you grow into this type of leader? And what do you see are the big pain points that leaders like you are finding in the industry? Notice how well I'm asking these questions, because I thought them up already. I'm not coming from an opportunity where I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Yeah. I already have it. I already know I'm going to talk about the vision. I already know I'm going to talk about the obstacles they face. I already know I'm going to talk about the things that are interesting, that their intuition might tell them, and the commitments they might make, and the environment that they have to deal with. This is called True Voice. This is a process that I created that allows me to, at the top of my mind, I always have the right questions to ask, because I'm not stuck with, well, I don't know what to talk about next. I know exactly what to talk about. And if I'm going to keep them giving me more information, that's going to help me then make a new promise that's going to help me then follow up and follow through. And that's how the relationship is going to go until we get to a point where every relationship gets to. And I don't care what that is. That's a good question, Ron. I'm going to ask you that. I'm going to answer that in just a second. No matter what point you get to a relationship where you're doing that back and forth, those first 3 steps that I mentioned in the illustration, right? As you get there, at some point, the relationship goes like this. Somebody's going to wonder, what are we up to now? What is this relationship all about? How do we define this thing we have? Is it friendship? Is it an association? Is it an associate? How do we define this, and what does it mean? What's the commitment we need to make to each other? Because obviously we enjoy each other's company, we enjoy each other's time, we're sharing information back and forth. It's a great thing. What now, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody gets to that point in a relationship when somebody wants to define their relationship. And that's when it's time to make, I need you to be my advisor. That's when it's time for, I need you to be my mentor. That's the time I need you to be my coach. I need you to be my supporter. I need you to give me that job. I need you to help me find the opportunity that I've been looking for, whatever. That's when it's time for you to then show up with a request that formalizes the relationship. Anything before that, before you've gotten through those 3 steps, several times and several different iterations over and over again, you're moving too fast, too soon, and you're killing the potential of the relationship. Now, there's people who you should be in this kind of relationship right now. And if they're not on your top 10 list, put them on your top 10 list.